channel. We're going to be jumping straight into the next video today, which is discussing the first purchase in the land of Israel, which is the land that God promised to Avraham that will be for his descendants for eternity. Before we go on into the video, please make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and turn on the bell for post notifications. And let's jump straight into the next topic. In Parshas Lech Lecha, God tells Avraham to leave your place, to leave your residence, to leave your father's home, to the land that I will show you. At that time, Avraham was residing in a place called Haran. From there, he left to Eretz Canaan. Just to clarify, in those days, Eretz Canaan is today Israel. Avram noticed that the people were very preoccupied with the soil and working the land, that he hoped that his descendants will inherit this land. God appeared to Avraham in Shechem, a city in Israel, and he told him, I will be giving this land to your descendants. Avram built an altar to thank God that his descendants will receive all of Israel. Fast forward 6 years later, this week's portion of Chayai Sarah. Yet when he wanted to bury his wife Sarah, who had recently just passed away, he faced a situation that he had nowhere where to bury her. He had to go to buy a plot. He set out to buy the cave of our patriarchs, also known as Ma'aras HaMachpelah, and the field surrounding it from a man called Ephron Hachiti. This would be the first purchase of buying the land from non-Jews, in order that in future generations, the non-Jews should never accuse the Jews from taking or stealing their land that was originally purchased by our forefather Avraham. 3 places throughout Israel were bought from non-Jews to our forefathers. The cave of our patriarchs, place where our temple was built, and the burial place of Joseph in Shechem. Avram chose this specific piece of land of Ma'aras HaMachpelah because he knew that this was the entrance to the Garden of Eden. We are unaware of this because we're not that high in spirituality as Avram, our forefather, is. But in this world, there are entrances from this world entering the Garden of Eden. Ma'aras HaMachpelah is one of the entrances. When Avram came to Ephron Hachiti and he told him that he would want to buy the piece of land, Ephron did not want to sell it to him. With a lot of persuasion and overcharging Avraham, our forefather, Avraham purchased the land. After the sale had concluded in writing and its rightful ownership established for all future generations, only after that did Avraham bury his wife Sarah. Had Ephron known and saw that this was the entrance to the Garden of Eden, he would have never sold this place to Avraham. But all he saw was a dark cave. And since his soul is dark and greedy as he was, he sold it to Avraham. Today, people wonder, so where's the proof that Israel belongs to Israel and forever will remain Israel? God promised to Avraham in Parshas Lech Lecha, the portion of Lech Lecha, and Avram's first purchase is in this week's Torah reading portion, Chayai Sarah. This is the proof that God gave this piece of land to Avraham, who gave it to his descendants, Israel, whom we received the Torah by Moshe, our teacher for all time. There is a very valuable lesson that we learn. God promised Avraham that the land of Israel, which he did inherit, how are we going to bring it in our earthly world? How are we going to bring this inheritance in our world? To connect with our world, Avraham bought this place from a non-Jew, sort of like a milestone. So future generations, non-Jews, will not claim this land is not yours. How do we apply this in our day-to-day lives today? We receive countless amount of blessings from God and from the Lubavitcher Rebbe on a daily basis. For example, income. But we have to bring these blessings part of our world. Let me elaborate. Certain people have this expectation that because God gives me a blessing, and our Rebbe gives me a blessing, that means I just have to wait till the blessing becomes fruitful, till it unfolds. I don't have to do anything. I just have to sit and wait for something to happen. If it's a blessing for income, if it's to have children, if it's to be healed from the sick, God wants you to make a physical act, a physical input for His blessings to be revealed. He did not promise a miracle. He promised His blessings if we obey His wishes. If we are devoted to God, God promises protection from our enemies. And we actually do see it when we are connected with Him. For example, Ephron Hachiti saw that it was a dark cave because he was not connected to God at all. Avraham knew that it was the entrance to the Garden of Eden because God was with Avraham, because Avraham had that connection. And God protected Avraham from Ephron, even though Ephron had overcharged Avraham. This is the connection that we need always to have with God. Sometimes people do not see God's blessings right away, especially when it's children, especially in a fertility situation, and they wonder, am I doing something wrong for God's blessing to be revealed? It sometimes means that family purity, also known as Taras HaMashpacha, is not being conducted to the fullest extreme extent that our rabbis have gave us a very clear guideline of how it should be done. And yes, every little bit helps. You can say to yourself, it's just one small leniency, but maybe that leniency, when corrected, was all that God needed to make a child born in purity. As long as you make sure that you're doing all that you can as God would wish, and still nothing yet has occurred, only then does God make a miracle for us, or we see miracles done by our Rebbe. But our Rebbe said we shouldn't rely on miracles. We should do all that we can to make a spiritual vessel. In other words, do all that we can to have God's approval, that God is proud that we're doing all of His wishes as He would want us to bring it into our earthly world. And from there, God's blessing when a child is born just overflows. Just remember, key to success in your life is first believing in yourself. See you in the next one.